Okay, so welcome to our next video for COMP3218, that's Game Design at the University of Southampton. My name is Dave Millard and I am here with...
Adrian Chapman, I'm a lecturer on the course.
And I'm Tom Blount, I'm another lecturer on the course.
So we've got a bunch of games to have a little look at in this video. Tom, do you want to say a bit about what we asked the students to do?
So this coursework was all about innovation in game design. We asked the students to make another small game prototype, this time with one of 4 interesting innovations. They could use procedural generation of content, they could use adaptivity in their game, they could use location-aware systems, or they could use some sort of novel input-output or hardware.
Right, okay, so our first game, and I think there was an issue with the WebGL build, so we're going to use it in the Unity editor directly, was Numly.
Okay.
So here we go.
So they've included some instructions with this one, which is nice to see.
Yep, okay.
Because I've seen this game before, and this would be very difficult to follow without the
Yes. Okay, the aim of the game is to combine numbers and mathematical operators to achieve the target number. Okay, so it's a game that's designed to embarrass us, right? That's perfectly fine. Each level starts with 1 green tile. This is your starting point. Okay. You have to string numbers and operate together, creating a path from the start point. You only connect tiles which are bordering. I like the little animation. That's cute. Bordering the last selected tile. Okay, so you've got to make a path that builds the
target number.
Builds the
or the sum that gives you the target number, I guess.
You want to select multiple numbers without operators in between to create larger numbers. Okay, so if you...
So 10 divided by 2 would be 5.
Each tile level has a time limit, and it adapts the difficulty. Right. Okay. So that's it to go. Okay, so here we go.
We've got 9 and we need 14.
So, 9...
9 minus...
Well, surely can I just...
91?
Oh, it's not, oh, I see. It doesn't add them. It just...
No.
So I'm going to do something like takes
97.
me... Oh, yeah.
No, I'd go 9 minus...
9
minus 1...
Minus 1 plus 6?
There we go. Target minus 3.
Target minus 3, so I want to go...
2 minus 8
Ugh.
plus...
So if I do that, it can do 20? It does. I quite like the fact you can just select and deselect. That's quite cute. So how about minus 8 plus 3?
Oh dear.
Okay,
Oh.
I appear to have done that too quickly.
So did it adapt the difficulty in a...
I'm not sure. Are we going to get up to like 997 divided by 7 plus...
Here's a question.
Wow.
The grid is huge. Has that actually changed the difficulty? If
Well,
anything,
yeah.
has that maybe made it easier? Because now there's more stuff for us to choose.
Maybe, because I guess
if we go 9 minus...
Yeah. So wait, we'll get to minus 14.
So I guess the trick is
So,
changing it, yeah.
9 minus... I don't know.
35
Well, that'll take me to 0.
Yeah.
No, because you've not got another operator.
I've got another operator. Alright, so if I go to minus that, take me to 6. Actually, I've only got 1 minus, haven't I?
So try minus 35, and then we can do like plus...
Yeah. Well, plus...
12.
Brilliant.
Very
Hey.
nice.
Nice
Okay,
job.
so we've actually gotten so engrossed into this game, all 3 of us,
Yeah.
that we have...
Well, it's because it's surprisingly hard to do basic arithmetic on video, it turns out.
So the one rule of YouTubing is never try and do maths live on the internet.
Yeah, so we've got to get to 77.
So do something wrong. Let's let your time run down. Just go push some random buttons. We're currently at a difficulty of extreme. How does the game adapt when you fail miserably?
Yeah, times that. Times by... Oh.
So you had over 120 seconds or something like that for our current set. I don't know. I've been watching the math numbers. Not the score hints. Oh, you've got hints.
So you've got hints and skips are disabled when you're at, quote, extreme difficulty.
Oh.
So you must be at extreme difficulty, Dave. You're
Yes.
that good.
Okay. So shall I press hints?
Let's do a hint.
Divide it by something.
So it reckons you should be going that way. So this is the thing. So we've seen puzzles like this in previous years, And I wonder if they generate a set path that they know will provide the right answer, and then just fill the rest with noise.
Yeah.
Which I suspect is probably the case.
Yes, but the problem with that is,
Because then they even say in their game notes, you'll either see the answer or you won't. And trial and error doesn't really help.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. So
what happens if I give me like little decimals here? No, it seems to disappear.
It does do decimals actually when you divide by something silly.
Okay.
In this case, 10 divided by.
I tried divided by 81. Right.
By 18. Oh, interesting. So that didn't like that at all.
No. Also, it didn't like it when I was doing multiplying by silly big numbers.
So they talk about how they've talked about the sort of the things they've changed based on the player's perceived skill level. So obviously the size of the grid, the number of digits in each number.
Yeah.
I don't know if that means the target or not.
Yes.
The number of operations required to complete the equation. The set of operators, so they assume that plus or minus the easier, division is the hardest.
Ah, so you just died there as opposed to getting another puzzle that was in some way easier.
But will it remember? So if I go back to the menu, target. So difficulty is now back. It's easy, but
you have 5 hints and 3 skips. Okay.
So I've got
do all your hints instead of but you also have less time here. So you've only had
1
plus.
Minutes. Okay, let's have some hints. All right. So hint 1. A. How do I? What?
So you have
the hint is not really a useful hint. We know that we have to get to that minus somehow. But
okay. All right.
Plus 2.
Well, actually, it probably is plus 6 minus 2.
Hey, there we go. But that hint didn't really guide us to it.
No.
We are still on easy. So last time you actually did it successfully and we moved up a level. So this time with using
target is 2 and current is 2.
Ah.
Which is interesting. Yeah, okay. That's an interesting little thing to start with. So I should have just... So obviously, if they're generating these, they're not checking to make sure that the target number is not the same as the
well, they are generating them.
The current number. All right. So yeah, 2. I don't know. 2 plus. I got the 2 plus 1. Can't go back to that. Minus 2. Yeah.
Right now, there's somebody watching this and screaming at us.
Yeah, I know.
That's right.
Yeah, hey ho. Oh, I died. So the other thing is, just in terms of when you're in that puzzle, it would be nice if because actually you can only graph the last thing, so it'd be nice if they showed you what the last one you connected was, or even if it showed you the route, so I drew the route around the grid. That would
because it just all goes green and you're not sure which ones are.
Yeah, you kind of lose it. All right. So okay, so 4 minus 8, I guess. Straight away,
now
really quick.
Hard.
So target is 94. That's a big leap, I think.
But you've just proved how good you are by doing minus 8.
Yeah, naturally.
73
7 plus I don't know. 68 will get us a bit closer. Plus I know 19 from somewhere. I'll add them up. Well, that's the problem. Nope. Oh, that's interesting. So will it go if I click there and then go there? Oh yeah, it does. It removes the shade. That's quite cute. Yeah. Plus. Yeah.
Right. Well, Dave is engrossed in trying to figure this out.
Get over
went
there.
the wrong way completely. So yeah, let's talk about quality first. How do we think the quality of this game is?
Quality, it looks nice. It looks frustrating, but it looks polished.
Yeah. I think some of the minor things have been that having the snake kind of go so that it's not just all green.
Yeah.
Knowing where you were and how you got there would be nice.
But it's got relatively good feedback in terms of showing you the current output of your sum and what you need to get to.
Yeah.
it's quite clear in terms of sort of difficulty, both by having that sort of explicitly saying, hey, this is easy mode, but also obviously the size of the grid is.
Yep.
The hints, I'm not sure how useful the hints are. It just sort of highlights a square, and we don't know how we're supposed to get
Was it before you got there, or was it after where you are?
And that's it. It's when it's the other side of the grid. It's like, okay, but what number? Like, surely the numbers I need to take to get to that hint square are pretty important.
Yes.
So, in terms of the difficulty ramping up, maybe it's just my brain, but there's a number of ways in which this get more difficult, right? So the numbers can get larger, the operators you have can get more complicated, so division in particular, but multiplication, and also the length of the chain can get longer.
Not to mention the arrangement of where they put the operators.
And I think part of the problem here is that they seem to be ramping them all up at the same time, right?
Yes.
And what I'm really after, I think, as a progression from that first one, is just a sequence of basic operators which is a bit longer.
Yes.
So almost going to get into that idea of building that kind of chain.
It's one of these things that it feels like that almost for this kind of puzzle game, it'd be nice. I mean, it feels like this could quite easily have a set of generated levels that people have thought about.
Yeah.
Like almost having sort of a set of like patterns of, okay, it will be this type of route.
Yes.
So it'll be a small number plus an operator, and then a large number plus an operator, or something like that. So I can see why they've procedurally generated it entirely, because, you know, as ever, replayability and things like that. But it does lead when you're in these situations of there's a ginormous grid and only one solution, you can't really trial and error it. You just have to.
Yeah.
And just spotting like that incredible chain of stuff is quite difficult.
So I do times that. I know. I keep trying to. 12 minus 4. Something. Yay! There you go.
So
I mean, it's certainly engrossing.
Yes, yes, it sucked us all in.
All right. Okay. So in terms of so how are they actually doing the adaptation then? What are they?
So the adaptation. So I think it's all based off of just the time you complete the level in. And that's
Okay.
So they don't really talk about the things they model about the player, but they talk about the different elements that they that they make more difficult.
And they are generating these presumably. So the generation, is that just random? Do they say much about how they're filling in the?
They say quite a lot about the generation. I'm just trying to pick it apart for the video. So procedurally generated approach for the boards. The equation and the answer are generated at runtime to allow pseudo-random number generation of equations, which should make the game more realistic and enjoyable. In contrast, if a human tried to randomly generate these equations, they would inevitably be patterns that would repeatedly emerge. The algorithm works is by starting at a random side or edge piece of the board and then randomly choosing the next tile. So I'm struggling to understand whether they generate the two numbers and then generate a sum, or whether they generate the board and just generate a path through it and then say, okay, this is the start and this is the target.
Yeah.
So they do say they do some validation about sort of checking. In fact, actually, hang on. So they say, where is it? If there are operators which are surrounded by other operators. I guess that one's not fully surrounded because you've got the diagonals, but they do try and make sure that there are no dead tiles, if you like, particularly around the corners.
Yeah.
So in the top left, for example, if that 8 was a plus sign, then it'd be useless.
Right.
Got you. Okay. Yeah. +6 minor. I don't know how long the chains are going to be either, right? So I can do that. I can do that. There you go. Right. Yeah. Okay. So I mean, I kind of. Yeah. So I think. I mean, I think you've kind of already said it, that it feels like it needs to be more sophisticated than just
increasing the difficulty of everything.
Everything, and then plotting that, and then filling out the details. It feels like it needs to be a bit more carefully measured in terms of the progression. I also kind of wonder, really.
It's also a bit of a shame that when you run out of time, it's just game over.
Yes.
You don't drop down
you don't
to
get
an
to
easier.
drop an easier level. Yes.
So I mean, you've got the skips, for example. So maybe if you skip, it also drops the difficulty down. But when you're on extreme,
shall we try? So we're on extreme.
But you're on extreme, so you have no skips.
Oh, you're right. Okay. Yeah, and also I just wonder whether, again, whether the fact there's one route. I mean, I wonder how difficult it would have been to have plotted several routes, for example, and then kind of overlaid them. So if I do 7 plus 1 minus, I don't know, let's go down a bit, 58 maybe takes us. No, I see. I can't quite get to that 5.
Plus 7 minus
plus
4.
I want to.
Minus
Oh,
8 minus
plus.
So you could go minus
2 plus 4.
So get rid of that. Minus. Yeah, I was going to do a plus 4.
But then you're stuck again.
And then I'm stuck. But I need plus 4 up there,
Yeah.
and then I need a plus 1, and there isn't one. Yeah. And also, I just feel like I'm kind of exploring this space, but then I have to kind of. Yeah, I don't know. I've got to, I may have gone wrong quite early on.
And it's difficult to tell.
And it's very difficult to tell. I feel like, look, I'm almost there. Take mercy.
So they do say they wanted to create a very strong distinction between the easy levels and the harder levels.
Well, they've managed that.
They did.
But they also say that because of the nature of the game, the easy levels can be very challenging by themselves.
Yeah, I just get the feeling that actually. So it's also about what is fun. Like is being stuck on a really hard one fun, or is kind of doing multiple ones fun? I suppose they both have their charms.
I think that's if you want to go incredibly challenging like that, I think the timer is probably unforgiving. If you had infinite time to do it,
it would actually be a lot of fun. I mean, how often, never mind, we're not going to say how often do we actually sit down and work through a puzzle like that without the timer.
And then, of course, you can still have that timer in the background to sort of test how skilled your player is.
Exactly, and to know whether to go harder after they've solved it or easier after they've solved it in some way.
I wonder also maybe building them out. So like that puzzle I just had was kind of down in would be this size. So what about giving me like intermediate goals?
So in this 3x3 grid, make this.
And then build it to this or something. I don't know, just something that kind of makes me feel like I'm unlocking parts of the puzzle, but without.
So there's definitely sort of a number of ways you could sort of scope this. So even, for example, by just adding an extra rule that says you have to pass through this middle square or something like that. If you wanted extra challenges rather than just increasing all of these things at once. Yeah.
I mean, it clearly is possible to do them. I mean, we just did the one there fairly quickly, but I'm not entirely sure how much it's just you just happen to stumble across the route, right? It's
70 times 1 minus 64.
Yeah, so it's kind of. I suppose the other thing is maybe missing a trick here. Because what you're really doing is plotting your way to operators, right? So I'm looking at kind of where I need to go. I need to go down. So I need to get, some.
You go big number first, and then you'll.
Yeah, I need to kind of I need to use those minuses and somehow, or I could do like minus 26, and then I can come up from there. Or I also wonder whether that. I think it's quite neat, that chaining idea, but it has this intrinsic property that you're at the end of the chain flailing around. Whereas actually, if I was trying to construct something, and I could go back and change the inner bit of it, and it would have some consequence or something.
It's basically that game from Countdown, right? Where it's here's some numbers and operators, make this target.
Yes.
But you're given this extra constraint of having to sort of with the spatial layout as well.
So minus 3. It's like, well, how do I get down there? So there must be a route. So
you could do 70 times 1 minus, and then you're sort of stuck for minuses again is the problem.
Yeah, 70 times 1 minus, but I can go
minus 61. Do minus 61, you've got it.
No.
Oh, sorry.
9.
Sorry.
Times by minus 1. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Times by 9, divide by 9 gets me over there.
Times by 1.
Yeah, I just like, I mean, how... Okay, times by, yeah, okay, times by 1 maybe. So I could be way out over here somewhere.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, okay. I kind of, I can see what they're doing. All right, so quality-wise, I mean, it's a very neatly presented...
I like the tutorial aspect. That was
little
nice.
tutorial, cute little tutorial. The only thing I would say is give me some feedback on where the end of the chain is.
Yeah.
But actually, that's a minor quibble.
Yeah.
There's maybe could do with it. Even this little animation is quite cute at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Maybe could do with some music going on or something. Kind of. I think particularly these types of puzzle games, you want some kind of punchy multimedia reward when you get it right. You know. Like smash all the numbers and have them tumble off the back of the screen or something, right? But but other than that, I think very nicely presented.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of the two systems, then, so
I mean, there's definitely evidence that they're there.
Yeah,
it's definitely seemed to get harder. When you
it definitely got. And some of the other ones we sort of complained that it's not quite perceivable, you know. And this one, that's harder.
A little bit of a shame that it doesn't go in the other way around. So
yeah,
I mean, well. It's difficult to say. The problem was we ended up getting stuck on an extreme difficulty and then we're stuffed.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if, you didn't have that limit.
So again, it kind of feels like...
so for example, if you just wait until like...
Oh, sorry.
Okay, I was going to say, if you wait right until the end of the time...
Now do a skip.
Yeah, do a skip. See how that affects things. Okay, so
it does take you right back down a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess the problem there is you just sort of, because you can get stuck on an extreme difficulty one, there's no sort of scope for scaling it back after that. But otherwise, okay, so they do have the up and down adaptivity.
Yeah.
I think, the key problem with it is, like you say, they scale up too many different difficulty aspects at once.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what you could model about the player in this game that would give you the opportunity to sort of raise or lower different bits of the difficulty. So, for example, if you find... So, firstly, just the time it takes them to complete a level, but also how many times do they go through a chain and end up going all the way back?
Yeah.
How many times do they always use plus operators and never the divides?
Or you could do it at a less granular level, coarser level, so this player never combines numbers to make a big number.
Yeah.
Right? That's a blind spot for them.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, you start presenting easier puzzles that require you to do that, right, at that difficulty.
Yeah, exactly. So you lower the difficulty of everything else, but you force them.
But you force them to make 31 or 35 in this case, as opposed to 3 plus 5. Shall we move on?
Well, actually, so the one thing we haven't talked about is the is the effect. How will it fit?
Yes.
So does this game need this, or does it benefit from this?
So their argument is that A, obviously it's infinitely playable because they're generated randomly.
Yeah.
And B, if a human had designed these levels, because humans are bad at randomness, then you'd get the same patterns over and over again. And I'm not convinced that second one is necessarily true. Humans are alright at designing puzzle games.
Yeah. Humans are pretty good at it. I mean, I think there is a clear benefit. It's one of those types of game where, yes, just being able to generate infinite variations works. So I think that's okay. And again, said it before, but the replayability argument is weak, but it does normally hold for this type of game.
Yeah.
And then the question is, have they taken advantage of it? Is the other aspect. Have they kind of have they kind of made the design of the game take that into account?
And I think in this case, this is the argument where it's too coarse or they're too just time. You solved it.
Yeah.
We go harder. It should actually be, here are the styles of play that this player does well at, or here's the types that they don't.
And that's where that comes in.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so we're going to try this one in WebGL. See how we get on. Here it comes. Try and make it full screen. Okay, so this is cute. Tap to start. Okay. Let's go.
Okay, so we've got really
Uh-oh.
Oh, fell down a hole.
What's the green thing over there on the left?
I don't know. I think
I
that...
guess some sort of power up. But
Oh, I quite like the way they come in. That's quite cute.
yeah, green thing. Oh, another hole.
Yeah, they kind of putting the green thing in front of a hole.
It's
Okay,
crazy.
I'm going to forget about these green things.
Okay.
See how we go
I,
on. I find that the fact that you jump when you move, I find quite disorientating for some reason.
So
Yeah.
the things they're measuring
Yeah.
is meters per second, and last 3 you are on
Oh, no, the last time you got 3.
and now you've got 4, 5, so that's a score of
So
some
it's-
sort. Okay.
It's another one of these games where it's an endless
Oh.
runner, but it's
Ah.
measuring distance and points.
And the points look like every time you hit a green thing, that was what the point which was, as opposed to some measure of meters per second.
So
Okay.
I have to say, it's quite fun actually.
Is that meters per second? Because
Could be miles per second.
well, no, I just surely it's meters, right? Because it's going up very, very fast, and you don't seem to be accelerating.
Yeah. So like I said, it is very playable.
You're right. There is something about that jump though that looks a little bit.
It makes sense for these bits, right? Where
Yeah.
you got to do a diagonal jump. Here we go. Getting into
I think,
it now.
yeah, I don't think there'd be a different way to animate that either. Is it audio surf that this is quite similar to? I'm trying to remember.
Here we go.
So, what did they say
Oh,
in their
no.
course notes that they?
So procedural generation. So there is a fine and confusing line between randomly generated content and procedurally generated content. They count the length of the tunnel. If the tunnel has reached the tunnel count has reached a specific value, it increases the difficulty. There are many modes of difficulty. Based on difficulty, generate a number that decides the holes generated, and then spawn coins, again based on difficulty. At least one floor should be provided so that the person can fall. There should always be enough space to jump from one floor to another, even if it's not easy.
So they are checking that.
They also say they try and place coins on segments, so they try not to place coins directly in front of you, so they place them on other segments.
Okay. Although they clearly are doing that in a few places, I think.
They are occasionally doing it.
So
Occasionally, yeah. But
Okay.
mostly they're sort of around you rather than directly.
So I'm so much concentrating on not falling down with these damn holes. I've not been looking at how the score is calculated.
So the score is the score goes up every time you collect a coin.
Yeah, it's
I haven't figured out what that meters per second is.
I think
You've
that's just-
slowed down occasionally, so every now and then it'll
Does it go
flash
down?
up with a -2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I believe, although I'm not positive at this point, that it happens when you pick up a coin.
The speed increases as you proceed.
Yes.
However, if you collect points, the speed will be decreased by 2 points.
Well, there we go.
The more coins you collect, the more you're rewarded by decreasing the speed, making survival easier. Okay, so that is supposed to represent the speed. It doesn't look like you're accelerating.
is that a good idea when increasing the speed is kind of what makes it fun? So there's like an optimal speed, which is so now is kind of it's that this is the float point there, right? That kind of speed.
Yeah.
And any faster than that, I'm starting to get a bit panicky, and any slower than that, I'm kind of a bit bored. Yeah, like I said, I have to say, so it is very playable. I could quite happily, quite happily sit here and play this for a while. Yeah. It feels a little bit unforgiving on some of these jumps. I don't know. It might just be that it's hard to judge, but there's a few times where I've thought I've landed and it hasn't.
So they say they validate it to make sure that it's technically possible,
Yeah.
but not necessarily easy. So I
So-
think maybe there should be a slightly higher threshold then.
Yeah. And maybe not actually looking for the challenge as a mistake. So so even that then, where you've got like to avoid one, you jump into a hole for the other one. That's obviously a slightly harder pattern.
So going back to your question of is it right to pick up coins in order to slow the game down, I kind of like that you can completely just run this game and it gets faster, and it does get faster, but you have to do a little bit of skill.
Yeah.
And then you get a breather.
They've also said if you collect 10 coins in short succession, then it drastically reduces your speed. I haven't seen an opportunity for you to collect 10 coins in quick succession.
No. Also, we trying to figure out whether the coins are moving.
Yeah, I've been watching that as well, and I think they are not.
See, I think they are.
Yeah, I can't tell. I can't tell whether it's me kind of spinning around. It gives it the illusion of movement because they're floating off the ground, or... Well, we're all looking intensely now. That's good. Oh.
That one looks like it was moving, yes.
It looks like some of them when they spawn in.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
See, also, I find it quite difficult because they generate the blocks about 6 blocks in front of you.
Yes.
And actually that's
really.
not quite far enough.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a personal preference thing, but it means you actually does make it a bit tougher. Someone else should have a go, actually.
Oh no! No!
All right, Tom's gonna take a go at it.
So just left and right?
Just left and right to jump.
I'm gonna be terrible at this.
Yeah.
So quality, you found it playable. It has music. The things behave in the right way.
Yeah, I think the quality is pretty high. Actually.
Yeah,
It really is playable, and it's nicely presented. Yeah, there you go.
Sorry, can't talk.
That's right. You're doing pretty well, but you're getting that faster than I ever got.
Jinxed it.
You know,
See,
and
that's the thing, I only got 5 though.
Yeah. Right. Well, this is what I'm trying to figure about the score.
Yes. The score is based on the coins.
So basically, if you are good,
yes,
you will very quickly die.
Yes.
On this, I think.
No, because getting a higher score reduces the difficulty because it reduces the speed. So the better you are at it, potentially the longer you can live. I think is the idea.
So the idea is you okay, so I'm just not doing the right thing. So I have to be collecting the coins, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I guess it's kind of like a survival thing. The more coins you collect, the longer you...
Okay, but
the longer
because
you put off the inevitable.
because the coins kind of float in from off the screen, they're not in situ. It's very difficult to. I'm either collect them or not, but I'm not kind of deliberately.
That's it. When I was playing, I was absolutely just focusing on avoiding pits.
Yes,
Yeah,
I am only avoiding pits
that's
right
what I
now.
did. And I think that's because you just can't. They're just whizzing around in your peripheral vision.
Because, like you say, you've got such a short amount of time to see the pits. You also don't have time to think about, okay, I'll get that coin because you're focusing on not losing.
I think if they appeared on the pits when the pits appeared, or on the blocks when the blocks appeared, that might make it a bit better. But that one that just kind of floats in from off screen.
Yeah.
Makes it quite challenging.
Oops! Oh, I thought I'd make that.
That's what I mean. You see?
Yeah.
And it's because you're going a bit faster. You think.
Yeah.
You can do it.
I will say I do agree with the space. Like the theme is right. There's a little bit of visual problems with running out of black and white with this dark blue at the end. See, I didn't even see that pit.
Yeah.
And it's not. I swear, because I wasn't paying attention. But that's a subtle thing, right? Maybe just a lighter blue, or oops, whoa, that was total accidental.
So one thing that would be super nice for this is sort of to almost generate your content in time to the beats. So the player has to jump.
Oh, that'd be excellent.
So I mean, there are a lot. This is a very sort of common thing for sort of like rhythm-based games as well. So they generate a pit on the thing you're in time that you have to jump away from.
Yeah.
But
So in terms of the generation then, so the generation, again, it seems to work absolutely fine. I don't think we've had any problems. I think it is a problem that it doesn't really seem to understand about some configurations are harder than others. And it doesn't seem, I mean, that would be fine, but it doesn't seem to take that into consideration as part of the generation process.
So based on
and that's a bit of a shame.
I mean, the only thing I can sort of really glean from their notes is they always make sure that there is definitely a place for you to jump to, but they don't necessarily try and make your route interesting.
Yes. Yeah, so I think that's a shame. And the difficulty, I'm really not sure about.
Yeah,
I kind of feel that actually, if this was a linear difficulty setting, although it's an endless, I'd probably find it just as replayable.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Whereas the interplay between coins and speed is confusing.
Yeah, and as I said, I think what happens is that it just ends up getting too hard too quick, and you just completely lose it. I think the fact that it's a dive back to the beginning as well.
That's the thing, right? It's okay. So on the one hand, I actually quite like that they're rewarding more skilled players by letting them play for longer.
Mm-hmm.
But how are they accommodating less skilled players?
But just you don't need adaptive difficulty to do that, right?
Yeah.
Because if you had a linear curve, more skilled players would play for longer, right? That's the thing. Even if you had steps, if it wasn't entirely linear, if it was like level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, and I almost feel that would be more satisfying because you'd realise that you've reached those kind of levels and you'd have an achievement from doing that.
And they sort of, I guess they have that to a degree because they say that the tunnels, the way they generate the tunnel is based on the distance you've got.
Yeah. So in terms of making the best of it then, and kind of whether it's meaningful, as I said, endless runners, it always makes sense to have procedural generation because you're replaying and replaying and replaying and replaying. So that argument I think is absolutely fine. The adaptive difficulty I think is slightly harder to argue for.
So I don't think they've actually gone for adaptive difficulty. I think it's just there happens to be a mechanic in it that sort of lends itself to that. But the absolute focus of their thing definitely I think is the procedural generation.
So in that case, I mean, I think it clearly works for the game. And again, just to note, it's very playable. You really can come back and play it
and get stuck.
And it works really well from that respect. And it is so much harder than people realise to make a game that has that playable quality to it.
Yeah, that's the only problem. Is that.
Okay.
Alrighty then. Well,
so I think we probably should move on to the next one.
I think so.
Okay, so our next game is I think called Mage Runner.
It's like the hit film Mage Runner with wizards.
Yeah. Here we go. Let's see if I can full screen it. How to play.
Instruction screen.
You're a wizard trapped underground trying to way out. All you have is this potion, which you can use to switch the direction of gravity. Each time you toggle gravity, use up some potion. Try to collect more on your way. Okay? Use the up arrow to toggle gravity, avoid the spikes and holes, grab as many jewels as you can.
Wait, I thought we drank the potion to toggle gravity. That's how we drink it.
You have basically you've got a limited number of switches.
Ups. Got it.
Shall I be brave and go for intermediate? Here I am. I am a mysterious wizard ninja. Oh.
There you go.
So it's very odd not pressing
up.
Down to change gravity to go down.
Mm.
That's
it'd almost be better if it was just
like
space to switch gravity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get my head around it, but it's odd. It feels desperately like I should be pressing down. Also, there's an unfortunate. Hang on a minute.
Is that happening on just the big screen? Or?
There was an effect there where it looked like I was going backwards.
Yes.
Right? Also, I think it just threw me into a dead end with almost no chance to get out of it. I think
it did too, actually.
I may have had a split second where I could have done something. Okay, let me try again.
What's the .20?
That's the number of potions.
There you are. So
I see it now.
UI isn't quite.
So it did it there as well. So I did have a split second to do it. But the very first thing it gave me
was a very difficult
was a difficult jump, and I'm running. Oh. Oops.
So I did find when I played this in the Expo, you can absolutely hammer the up key and just float in the middle, but you will very quickly run out of potion if you do that.
Okay, that's quite fun. Right. So I haven't even taken into account the potion thing. So what's the potion do? Oh,
So
you're
you
right.
see you're going down on that number now?
Ugh. Yeah. Thanks for that strategy, Tom.
I
Right.
did say.
Right. Okay. So what? So how does it? I'm.
So yeah, what is are they procedurally generating things in this world?
Yeah.
Okay.
But there, you see,
Now this is way easier than what the last 5 times you just went through.
and this is the thing. As far as I could tell from talking to them in the expo, they validate that it is technically possible to get through, but again, they don't necessarily put thought into how they combine the elements that are appearing.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
I'm going to play on easy on the grounds that I'd like to get a bit further. I'm not actually sure what easy will do. Remove
It's
all
slower.
obstacles.
It is not just easier, you are moving slower at this point.
I
Oh,
think that might be the only thing that changes.
Dave!
I pressed the key. I think it's another one of those where it's just a bit aggressive on the. Because I had to wait right to the edge to jump then, right?
No, you can. Yeah.
So, that's
This is
not
not
easier.
easy.
So they say when they generate these things, they basically put a collider around each obstacle to say this is the safe area that a player would need to pass it. And then if that overlaps with the collider of another obstacle, then they remove one of them.
So they try to think about.
So everything should be technically possible, but the problem is it's not really taking into account progress, I don't think. So for example, they've got like a really hard first obstacle for the first, like the very first obstacle was quite difficult, and then we ended up with nothing but gems for ages.
And like that one,
I'm also not. See, that's the thing. It's one of these ones where it's technically
Possible.
beatable, but
and actually the
That's
easiest way
certainly
to do
not
it is to fly. Do your fly through the middle bit. All right, let's try it on. Let's try on difficult.
Yeah.
So there's no adaptive difficulty here. It's all based on generation.
Procedural generation.
Oh my god, it really
And
is difficult.
Difficult is just speed at this point.
So what I've also what's the potion thing do?
that
It
just gives you more.
jumpers.
So you're limited in the amount of time you can.
Is have I? I've the entire time we've been playing, I've been absolutely ignoring that.
But it
So
also seems a really unforgiving mechanic because it's hard enough to just make the jumps, let alone saying you can only make a limited number of jumps.
And then you run out.
but why? That's mean. Come on. So but okay. So I'm still a bit. So let's try. Let's go back to intermediate. So if I jump, oh, it's that number down the bottom.
Yeah.
And I'm dead. Yeah. That is a bit mean, isn't it? So I didn't realise it was that.
So
I was looking at the.
I suspect it is just
the
to stop
icon.
you doing that tactic that I tried straight away, which is just floating through the middle of the level. So I can see why they put it in there, but I almost feel like you could use the procedural generation to make that a not a viable tactic by spawning
Yes.
stuff in it.
It's fixing a symptom, not the problem, right? So I mean, it's a cute little mechanic.
In terms of quality, it's alright.
And-
I like the little ding every time you collect something. That's really nice.
Yes, and actually although I was saying maybe it's a little bit aggressive, it's not that bad. It's
Well,
quite
the problem is
responsive.
there are certain ones that just feel a little bit unfair.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's nice because it's an endless runner where the score is definitely not linked to the distance. Like they've said, collect all of these gems, and these gems are how you score.
Again, I do wonder whether a bit more variety might be nice,
See,
but
that
then
bit there would have been very tough to go if you've gone that lower.
In fact, I think that might have been impossible.
yeah, but it thought it was possible because I could have gone around the top,
Yeah.
but I committed to the bottom. Yeah. So yeah, so obviously they've done some calculations, like you said, to make sure it is physically possible, but they haven't thought about how kind of what the experience of the player is like about those things, and whether some of them are more challenging than others, and then managing how they're putting those into the level. In terms of meaningfulness, it's endless runner. It's your free procedural generation pass, right?
So again, they say, replayability, because if the levels were static, then you'd have to replay the same ones again, and that'd be boring.
And again, I mean, what it's the restart that makes it work, right? So it's because you're restarting so frequently, it does make sense to do it. Have they taken advantage of it in this endless runner configuration to do kind of interesting things?
The problem is, I don't think they have, because you ended up with sections where it was nothing but gems, and then ones where it was kind of nothing but spikes.
Yeah.
It feels like they could have done something more interesting with the patterns that the generator produces, particularly as the difficulty goes on. You could sort of tie that to the generator.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I mean, it's a nice game with a generator that works.
Oh, so
they could have done more to.
So they do mention actually the further the player gets, the more likely they are to, or rather, the less likely they are to spawn rewards, and the more likely they are to spawn spikes. So they do say that
they have a difficulty thing built in.
However, I mean, just based on us playing it, it didn't look like it.
And that's purely because they're not looking at the difficulty of the different configurations of things that they're generating. And that is a a more challenging problem, but ultimately is one of the things that really impacts the experience. Yeah.
And as well as so they mention they generate more rewards if the player is performing poorly, but I don't see how you can be performing poorly at that game, because you just lose instantly.
You either yes.
You're either doing fine or you're dead.
Yeah. Okay, so good basic game, I think, but again, perhaps just could have been a bit more sophisticated in how they'd use the procedural generation.
Mm-hmm.
Right, okay, so here we go. So please be aware that this is a horror game. Sound is an important element of gaming experience. Make sure you can hear the sound of the rain and the scene very clearly. So I found it quite interesting that they put that up and the rain isn't actually playing.
Yeah. It feels like one of those sort of configuration things. Like, we're going to play a sound, make sure you can hear it clearly.
Yeah.
And then,
I like this. Near the deadline, you write the coursework of game design.
that was a bit quick.
That was a bit quick. Now I can hear the rain. Left click the mouse mount of the space key to turn pages of the document or dialogue, and again, make sure you can hear the sound of rain clearly. So what? Yeah, okay. Strange to tell us twice. So I played this in the expo, so I'm going to suggest that someone else.
I played this in the expo as well.
I
Tom, you should play this one.
Okay. There you
Alright,
go.
so we're going to shuffle this around. So
So I think it's space to. So it's WASD to move.
wow, what the hell is this place? Okay, I'm moving.
Click to get rid of your dialogue.
Oh, okay.
I should be in the lab doing my coursework.
Rain is so heavy.
I must find a way out. So, move left and right. So I think
It's a bit slidey controls a bit.
you can go up and down as well.
Yep.
So I think you have to go
okay.
on the pavement to the door that's behind you.
One
One wall will stop you.
Yeah.
So there are some bits where it's not quite clear what's going on. I think you have to go back to where you started and go through the door that's next to you.
Wait, what? So I can't go through. Oh, that. Oh, okay.
Right. So, but the placement of that door isn't great, and you're in front of it. It's slightly behind you, and whereas what they should have done was said you start on the left hand side of the screen. The door is on the right hand side of the screen. Right, here we go. That way.
Kind of nice sound design.
Here. I think the graphics were
really well.
Yeah, I mean,
Do you reckon? I'm not sure they work with the one with the asset they've used for the player character.
I disagree. I like the contrast between the two.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I see what you're getting at with sort of like the sort of faded grayscale background and the character.
And
Yeah.
the character is kind of.
It just feels like
you have to click again to get rid of the speech bubble.
Okay. Space. There we go.
I should try to look around and find a phone.
It'd be nice. Be nice if there was a background to that speech bubble as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But at least with big.
You can go look. You
Go look at the picture.
Hang on. So we've got SAN 100, ghost number 0, room number 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'm sure it'll be fine.
I think all is explained.
Press Air.
There's the sinister picture.
Okie dokie.
Yeah.
Press Q to exit.
Yeah. It's all very shiny.
Okie dokie.
So, I think it would be the keys are a little bit all over the place for interacting with things.
This room is the same as the next room. Dun dun.
So explore. It's another picture.
Is it the same picture? No,
Different
it's a
sinister
different picture. Still in room number 1.
Yeah.
Is there going to be a jump scare to this? Is it just going to be suddenly... Oh, there's only one person in this picture.
Yeah. Going down.
Okay. Ooh, spooky noises.
Giggling. This door is locked.
It's going to be a key in one of these desks. Ooh. I'm slightly stuck.
So what's there if you go back? Is there another?
So maybe I have to go back out that room.
Mm-hmm.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I'm getting kind of Ooh, that one's locked as well.
This door is locked. Ah, that's interesting.
Oh, but now this one's open.
Oh, that's strange. I think that might have been a little bit of a glitch. Use a map to the house. Use the M key to open the map and press it again to close the map. Be careful, there are some hidden one-way secret doors in the house. Using it will make it easier. Okay.
So is that advising me that I should be using them or not?
Yeah, I'm not sure. So there's the
Okay,
map.
so here we go. My position, ghost
Okay,
position.
quite a cute little map.
I'm a little bit concerned that we're marking ghosts on a map.
I don't think there's any yet. So
There's a painting again.
one of the issues is you can't interact with these paintings.
Shit.
But you can see yourself in. So one of the things I find when I played this is that they've got this kind of configuration where you're looking at the screen from the side,
I had the same
and
problem.
you've got 3 doors, and then you switch this map view, and it just takes you a moment to orientate yourself. But you do get used to it.
I never got used to it.
And they got this tutorial, so the game is its own tutorial, which I think is quite cute as well.
Yeah, that is really nice.
However, this is quite a lot of text to drop on you, and it's really important, because now you're actually starting the game. So when you explore a room, it's possible that a ghost appears in a random other room, right? You can see them on the map.
Whoop, I accidentally pressed the button.
And when you enter a room, each ghost will randomly move into an adjacent room.
Okay,
right?
so there's the ghost.
And if you ever meet the ghost, then you lose health, right?
Okay.
So basically, it's a little puzzle game where you're moving around trying to avoid the houses. And you can avoid the ghosts, and you can rest in the room if you want. So if you press the map now,
So there's the ghost.
so there's a ghost there. So for example, if you go back,
Hang on, let's have a look at this document first. Ooh, I'm stuck on the table.
oh, there we go. So let's have a look.
Dear Principal, according to the Common Inspection Framework, we are honoured to inform you that Southampton High School has received a good credit rating. Teachers and students of the school all agree that they have a good learning environment and a great campus atmosphere.
Yeah, it looks like a great atmosphere. Yeah, nice. And only slightly blood spattered, which is how I like to get most of my mail.
Yes.
Stop joking.
Sorry.
Hang on, stop joking about Southampton being... This is the same address with my university. Wait.
It was a high school beforehand, so you're discovering that this used to be a school.
See, I thought that was just like slight inconsistencies, but no, deliberate. Nice.
Deliberate. So before you go through the door, you look at the map,
So when I go through it, the ghost is going to move.
and it could move on to you. So you have to rest. Does that make sense?
But what if I rest and it moves there?
But it always moves. So
But I could move now and hope it goes the... Okay, I'll rest.
yeah.
So it's
So
moved
now
that
you
way.
can safely move back in that direction.
Right.
So you go right. So
Oh, okay, so it doesn't have to move in a...
It doesn't have to follow the...
It doesn't have to follow the
Corridor,
doors, it can
so,
just
no.
jump. So what's to stop it just jumping on top of me when I rest?
the rules.
well, it could if it was adjacent to you.
Well, no, because it's just moved non-adjacent.
But there's
Oh.
adjacent in there.
No, because it was here and it's just jumped here.
No, it was in the bottom right hand corner.
Yeah.
It's gone left one.
But
So
there's no...
There's no route, yeah. So it can move through walls, but it can still only move one room at a time,
Okay.
I guess. Ah, okay.
So now it's
So
there.
you just find the emergency exit.
Okay, is that good? I thought I was looking for a phone.
The door is locked.
You can't lock an emergency exit.
You can.
Okay, so I guess I have to rest because there's a ghost there.
No,
Actually, no, because the ghost is there.
The ghost will
so
live.
you can move because the ghost will have to move. So once I find the logic of this puzzle a bit odd, but once I figured out how it worked, I was happy with it.
Yeah.
I find it curious that you could swap rooms with the ghost without meeting the ghost, basically.
Well,
Yes.
the ghost goes through a wall, I guess. So I guess I have to go to this one. I see what you mean about the layout of the rooms. I think I like the doors. I think I'm getting the hang. Oh no! Now there's another ghost.
Right. But now you want to explore
This way.
So that was a little cry, so I think there's 3 ghosts now.
Yeah.
Good. Great. Everything's fine. That one's locked.
That's locked, okay. So there are kind of different types of rooms, so they're obviously procedurally generating the layout,
Mm-hmm.
First part of the diary.
but you've got these little narrative elements.
I was going to say, this is nice. It feels like they've actually incorporated everything they've learned so far. So we've got the tutorial elements,
Yes.
we've got the narrative elements. This is really great.
Yeah, it's really nice.
First semester of high school, I learned very hard. At the end of the period, I was ranked first in the class. The teacher praised me in class that everyone should learn from me.
Yeah.
The teacher said I was a good student. I heard that someone...
I'm a submissive puppy. Fantastic translation. At the volume its teacher cannot hear.
Today, the teacher asked us to discuss in groups, but nobody in the class wanted to be... Oh.
I don't want to go to school anymore.
Oh.
So this is... I found my notes in the toilet and someone poured juice into my locker.
So I was causing confusion.
At the school.
Oh.
Should I visit a doctor? So someone is a diary of a poor girl. I like the little character animations. Really, this is what I mean about it's quite fitting. This kind of
Yes.
little plodding. I'm just exploring my hands thrust into my pockets.
And it's like even just sort of like the little... So we sort of react to these notes as a player, but then our character reacts to it as well. So we get
Yes.
like characterization of the protagonist. I should have checked my map there.
Oh, it's a ghost. Oh no, it's not. Yes, it is. Little cutscene.
This is really good.
It is very, very nice use of all these elements, right? So right.
Okay.
Let's see where we are.
So we've sort of spoken about the quality of the game a little bit. What about the procedural sort of elements, or I'm guessing it's procedural.
It's procedural generation of the map. So what are they generating? So they're generating obviously the layout.
So do you want to take over playing? And oh no, another ghost.
They're generating the layout. They're also generating the placement of those kind of narrative objects.
Yeah.
And there's also special rooms, some of which I think we've seen.
Yeah.
That's right. Obviously, when a ghost spawns is random as well.
So, hang on, where are we going? So,
and they label the map as well when...
so we've got corridors. So we found the office down the bottom. We've got the emergency exit over there.
Because we've run into a ghost, the ghost has disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's just now made it slightly easier.
Yeah. So if I come this way, I think I've got to go this way. Okay.
But we've just got a new ghost, so...
So it would be nice if the map was a bit more centered on me. I like to be egocentric. Everything's about me. Right, here we go. So let's go. Let's keep going whatever way this was. Is it that one? Here we go.
Lots of ghosts.
So the rooms do look different as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's ghosts aplenty behind me. Is that another ghost?
Mm-hmm.
4 ghosts.
Oh, there's something here,
and I've got-
bloody.
So, okay, here we go. A medical document, patient's name, depression treatment. She's experienced temporary hallucinations since January. Sometimes she feels unrealistic. Reason may be due to fear or bad experience. Mood is unstable. She does not want to go to school. Difficult to get along. Occasionally self-harm behaviour. So this is truly a troubled person, right? Oh, poor girl. Why did this school disappear? Okay, so we've got this kind of... So it's a different... Oh, that's fun.
Ooh.
I just pushed the curtain back.
Mm.
Don't think there's much interactions with it, but I kind of like that. So I don't think there's any ghosts down below me. Something I can just go back for a minute. Let's go through here. Ooh. So I like the fact it's got the R to rest thing at the top. So basically there is a prompt for everything you could do on screen,
Mm-hmm.
which I quite like.
So they've procedurally generated the
Oh.
map. Are they also doing that for where the ghosts move within the map?
Yeah, I don't know what the logic is behind the
Behind the ghost
movement.
movements, yeah.
Or where they spawn. Let's go through there.
That one's locked.
Okay. So they also say they have a number of different types of rooms they generate.
Yeah.
But because corridors are the most common ones, because they link the other major rooms, they randomly generate the decorations of each corridor as well. So there's a sense of direction. So I assume that means the paintings and things like that.
Yeah, that's quite nice because they don't.
Because then it gives you a sort of a landmark for where you've been. You can say, oh, okay, I remember that painting.
It doesn't necessarily look like it's generated. It looks like it's kind of fairly nicely integrated. And so the graphics are simple, but they're so consistent and they're so thematic. Okay, so I could go up there or down there. Let's keep on going this way. I think there's a ghost following me. Oh, the glass room.
So they control the difficulty of it by trying to have somewhere between 1/3 and 2/3 a ghost to room ratio.
Right, okay.
Which sounds a lot to me. If
Yeah.
a third of all rooms have a ghost in them, that seems
Difficult.
But, I mean, so they say they tested it and they found that was a good one.
So I think I can move back safely.
Yeah.
So I'm still a little iffy about how the ghosts move. So if you just check the map again. So if you rest,
So
it might come for you.
Yeah, but if I go right, then the ghost that's currently to my right won't be able to get me, but the ghost that's to the right of that might get me. So I need to either run away or go south. So I'm going to try and go south, which is through this door to the north. Yeah. Here we go. So another corridor, I guess.
You've got 8 ghosts now.
Yeah, that is not good, is it? Let's keep going this way. Surely I must find a... So this, from playing it before, this space is not that big.
Really?
So
it feels pretty huge. And it almost feels like it's a bit too big. Like we could do with...
I think I might be getting there. Nope, it's another one. So still a corridor. I go that way or that way. So I'm going to keep going this way.
Oh, okay.
So here's a special room.
This is fine.
Yes, nothing to see here. The last part of a diary. Oop. I might be very sick. I can feel pain now. I hate them. Why have they made me like this? I am so painful. I cannot stay in this pain anymore. Finish this. I have to buy something. Some gasoline. Today is the day I locked the emergency exit and hid the key in the locker in this room, and then I burnt the school so no one can run out. Let's die together. Ooh.
Okay,
So we have an arsonist.
So the key to the exit is somewhere.
In that locker.
In that locker, perhaps? Press F to get the... Yes, get the key.
So
The
now-
emergency exit are increasing immediately. Find emergency good leave. So now I have to get out.
Get back to that exit.
Right, and
Which,
there's my
which
key.
at least is nicely labelled. But that's
So-
a lot of ghosts to get through.
Where are you?
Oh my god, that's a lot of ghosts. So
the emergency exit
Oh,
is
you're there.
And
I
we're
am
there.
down the bottom here.
Oh boy.
Right. So
This
all
might
right.
be
Not a-
tricky.
So do I rest? And I suppose I have to really. Let's try rest. We haven't actually tried a rest.
Oh, we have.
Oh, do we?
Yeah.
Press Q to exit. So one of the problems I think with pressing R to rest is that it doesn't.
There's no immediate
There's no feedback. But if I do it here,
Oh, okay.
there we go.
I see. Yeah, they move through that.
They move through the wall. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But they've cleared my route, so I can go this way. I love the ticking of the clock as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a really nice
I don't know.
effect.
That really put me on edge because I thought, oh my god, am I being timed? Are the ghosts going to move?
So I wait again because there's a ghost up there that could get me.
I think you have to. But then the
It
problem
still
is
could get me.
the problem is it feels.
And again. Oh no!
And the problem is now it can get you
Right,
Unless you back off.
unless you back off, and then we're back where we started.
I'm
this is the problem.
gonna go with it. I think.
So this bit feels like the randomness actually kind of
Idea.
hurts the game
Yeah.
because we've gotten to a point where we're just sort of rolling a dice
Yeah.
and seeing if we can get. There's no real skill to this.
Well, there sort of is. You are minimizing risk,
I
right?
mean, yes, but
So you're
have
making
this
some
entire,
decisions.
You've got this entire corridor that you were at the bottom of, and you were just hoping. See now,
Yeah.
So I think we talked about this in one of the other games, that one of the
Ah.
problems of this kind of roguelike generation is you end up with these very long routes, and that there are generally two ways to get around that. So one is to put something into the generation to make sure that you spot them and get rid of them. and the other way is to give you some kind of magical MacGuffin that immediately transports you to a particular place.
Yeah.
So we had one earlier on with a teleport device, right? So that's kind of what we need now, is like a kind of a recovery type of mechanism.
Because right now the only safe spot you can go is back the way you came.
Yeah, so I have a feeling that I'm not going to be able to make this.
Which is a shame, because I really want to see how this ends.
No!
There we go.
Is that me?
We're doomed.
Yep.
Not we get to see this ending. I love that cutscene, it's so good. Disappears. And his belongings are left on the scene. Travel out.
That was, even for a dead
cute.
ending, that was
It's cute.
very well done.
So I mean, I think, in terms of quality, I really like it. I think it's great. I think
the ending was a bit frustrating just because there were so many ghosts and we couldn't save them. Like,
there was no agency in the ending.
So I in the Expo I hit a sweet spot, and I had just enough ghosts that it was challenging, but I could get through, and I made it through. And I think at one point I deliberately sacrificed some health in order to, but I did deliberately. So I think kind of yeah, there is definitely an element of the luck going on in what you generate, but so maybe the ratio of ghosts to rooms is a little bit high, but generally in terms of actually giving you a tutorial, giving you a nice experience, getting the theme right, consistent,
lovely narrative in there.
nice narrative,
just the fact
taking you
they
through.
pulled all the elements from all the other courseworks
Yeah.
together for the final one.
Yeah, very good. And then the procedural generation, it looked like a relatively standard kind of procedural generation, grid generation, but it worked. It gave you meaningful maps. I like the fact they mixed up the rooms. I like the fact they had special rooms that they dropped in. They had these other narrative elements they could drop in as well. My only criticism of the generation is that it would have been good when you have those very long routes to spot them and cut them
to give the
off.
player more, because if all of those rooms were interconnected, we'd be a lot more able to make choices about how we avoid the ghosts.
Yeah.
If there's an issue here, it might be with the last criteria we asked for, which is about the meaningfulness of the actual process. So would this have been better as a designed game? Is the question. Yeah.
I kind of worry that it would.
I think it might be. Because it's not the kind of game that you replay and replay and replay.
That's it.
Right?
So going back and replaying this one would, I think, be frustrating.
Yes.
So just partly because of the sheer amount of content in it.
Yeah. So it feels to me like actually a design structure would probably have been better. Although the procedural one, it does kind of work. And it may be that if this was the first part of a bigger game, having this as a way of kind of creating kind of further spaces might work. But I think what we have here, there is a bit of a mismatch about the way in which the map is being used and the fact it's procedurally generated. And then in terms of have they made the most of that procedural generation, again, it's just the style of the game doesn't quite fit the use of procedural generation. So maybe you let down a little bit by that element, but all the bits are implemented really nicely.
Great.
Right, we should move on, but was that our last game?
That was our last game.
So that's great. So thank you very much for watching, and we will see you soon in another video.